Look at your electric bill. Not the total, the line items. There's one called something like capacity adjustment or generation service charge. Most people skip right past it. Last year, the wholesale price behind that line item jumped nearly 10 times in a single auction. 10 times in 1 year. And most people paying it have no idea it exists or why it just exploded. I'm going to tell you exactly what it is, where it comes from, and why it's only going in one direction from here. PJM Interconnection runs the grid for 65 million people across 13 states: Pennsylvania, Ohio, Virginia, Maryland, New Jersey, Illinois, and more. Every year, they run an auction. That auction sets the price that power plants get paid just to exist, just to be available. Not for the electricity they produce, for the promise that they'll be there when it gets hot in July. That price just hit the FERC-approved ceiling. 3 auctions in a row. The people running the market are admitting, in a published report, that it's broken, and you're paying for it. Here's what we're going to cover: what a capacity market actually is and why it exists. Why prices just spiked 10 times in a single year. How that wholesale number turns into a line item on your bill. And what PJM's own CEO meant when he called the whole thing a credibility trap. Your electricity bill is actually paying for 2 completely separate things, and most people only know about one of them. The part you know about, the energy market. Every hour of every day, power plants sell the electricity they actually produce. You use a kilowatt hour, someone got paid to generate it. That's the energy charge. The part you've probably never thought about. The capacity market. This pays power plants for being ready to produce, for having the equipment staffed, maintained, and available, even during the hours when they're running at zero. Not for the electricity, for the availability. Think of it like a retainer for an attorney. You pay the retainer whether or not you ever call. The capacity market is a retainer for power plants. You pay them to be on call for the worst days of the year. The hottest afternoon in August. The coldest morning in January. The days when the grid needs every megawatt it can get. Not every region does this. Texas runs an energy-only market. ERCOT doesn't pay for capacity separately. PJM does. New England does. The Mid-Atlantic and Great Lakes states decided after deregulation that energy-only pricing wasn't attracting enough investment in reliable power plants, so they added this second layer. So that's the baseline, a separate auction every year where generators bid to be available. PJM takes those bids, figures out how much capacity it needs to keep the lights on, and clears the auction at a price. Every generator that clears gets paid that price, per megawatt per day, regardless of whether they ever run. The price that clears the auction is called the clearing price. And that price just did something almost nobody outside the industry has ever seen before. Here are the numbers. In the 2024 to 2025 delivery year, PJM's capacity clearing price was $28.92 per megawatt day, down slightly from $34.13 the year before. These are normal, historically typical numbers. Then the 2025 to 2026 auction cleared at $269.92 per megawatt day for the entire footprint. In the Baltimore gas and electric zone, Maryland, it cleared at $466. In the Dominion zone, Virginia, $444. Nearly 10 times higher than the year before. The 2026 to 2027 auction cleared at $329. At the cap, the 2027 to 2028 auction, $333. At the cap again. First, generators are retiring faster than new ones are coming online. Coal plants are closing. Older natural gas plants are uneconomic. Nuclear plants that were kept on life support are starting to go. The supply side of the auction is shrinking. Second, demand is surging. Monitoring Analytics, PJM's independent market monitor, estimates that data centers account for 63% of the capacity price increase, nearly 2/3 of the spike. That's not a utility trade group estimate. It's from the watchdog whose job is to audit the market. Third, PJM changed how it accounts for solar and wind. The old rules let intermittent generators count their full nameplate capacity toward reliability requirements. The new rules count only what's reliably available during peak hours. Overnight, that change removed a meaningful chunk of supply from the auction. All three hit at once. So the auction clears at $270 per megawatt day. You live in Pennsylvania or Ohio or New Jersey. How does that become a line item you're paying? Your utility, whatever local company sends you that bill, buys capacity from PJM on your behalf. It's required to. Different utilities name it differently. Generation capacity charge. Default service capacity. Capacity adjustment. If you look at the line item detail on your bill, which most people never do, it's in there. And it just got a lot more expensive. The Office of People's Counsel for Washington, D.C. calculated that the 2025 to 2026 auction added approximately $10 per month to the average residential bill in the D.C. and PEPCO zone. That's just the capacity charge. Not energy, not transmission, not distribution. One line item, one auction, $10 a month. If you live in the BG zone, Central and Southern Maryland, or the Dominion zone, Northern Virginia, the impact is larger. Those zones cleared at the cap. Virginia alone has more data center capacity than any other location on Earth. The capacity market is now pricing that scarcity. Here's the part that's hard to fix. High capacity prices are supposed to be a market signal. They're supposed to say, build more power plants. This market will pay you. The investment will pencil out. But high prices also mean higher bills. And higher bills are politically visible. When bills spike, legislators hold hearings. Regulators respond. Price caps get lowered. Market rules get changed. That intervention, even when it's well-intentioned, creates uncertainty for investors. If you're spending $1 billion on a power plant that runs for 30 years, you need to know the market structure will still exist in year 10. So investors don't build, which keeps supply tight, which pushes prices higher, which triggers more political intervention. The loop repeats. PJM CEO put this in writing, May 6, 2026. He called it a credibility trap. The tool designed to fix the problem is undermining its own ability to fix the problem. PJM is floating solutions, longer commitment periods, forward clean energy markets, new mechanisms to give investors certainty before they break ground. But even optimistic timelines mean new plants won't arrive until 2030 or later. And data center demand isn't slowing down to wait. The grid was designed for a certain rate of demand growth. This isn't that rate. Go back to that line item on your bill. Capacity. 5 years ago, it was a rounding error. Now it's the fastest growing cost on your electricity bill, and 3 consecutive auctions have cleared at the ceiling the regulator set. Until something structurally changes, you're paying for the stalemate. The line item isn't going away. And now you know exactly why. The next video covers data centers from a completely different direction. What actually happens when a data center tries to connect to the grid? There's a process called interconnection that takes years, costs millions, and has a queue of over 1,000 projects backed up nationwide. That's the next video. Link in the description.